Hi everyone, this is The Conflicted Critic, back with another video and back with another book review. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to release a book review right after Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, and to be very honest, the main reason for that was that it took me a lot of time and it took me a lot of effort to recover both mentally and emotionally out of that book. And fortunately, I recovered from it enough to discuss another book with all of you, and that book happens to be The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. So, The Old Man and the Sea is a very well known, very popular and well read English classic by a very popular author who's considered to be one of the greats of English literature. And this book happened to be Hemingway's last ever book that he wrote before he died, and it also happened to win him the Nobel Prize in literature. So today we're going to talk about why this book is held in such high esteem, amongst critics and amongst people, amongst fans of Hemingway as compared to his other works. So The Old Man and the Sea, quite literally, by its name, talks about a man's journey out at sea. The man is old. The man is, used to be a really good fisherman. He used to be, a very strong individual, a very imposing individual who lived his life to the fullest. But now, due to his old age, his reality is basically hitting him hard. He's not got that much luck as a fisherman now, even though he used to be a great fisherman. And even his personal life, he's all alone now. His wife has died, and for his company there's only a young boy of his village. The village's name is Havana, and it's the same boy he used to mentor when he used to be in those golden days as a fisherman. So this novella entirely talks about the fisherman's foray into the sea for this one last adventure. He rides out at sea alone without the boy to his aid, and his purpose is to relive those days as his glory days as a fisherman, as he used to be, as it all used to be. And this whole novella is about that experience. And what I really loved about this book was the way that it transitioned from reminiscence, where the old man starts thinking about his past, thinking about his glory days, where he used to be strong, where he used to be full of life, where he used to be exuberant and youthful, and the transition that happens to his old age and to the days where his limbs are struggling, his physical capacity to be a really good fisherman is no more, right? The transitions are filled throughout the book, right? Where the man talks to his inner consciousness, to his inner self, and talks to his inner self about the past, right? So whenever we think about the past, whenever we reminisce about the past, it's mostly in the form of a conversation, and this conversation is so beautifully portrayed by Hemingway in this short yet sweet story that it brings out your reminiscences, it brings out your own meanderings into the past that used to exist. And this entire story deals with loneliness in a beautiful way. It deals with the inner voice of a person in a very beautiful way. Most importantly, the old man exemplifies loneliness in such a beautiful manner that he considers his own physical attributes to be living conscious beings. For instance, because he's caught hold of a fish, right? And it's a very beautiful fish, it's a very elegant fish. His hands are unable to pull the string with that intensity that we used to do. And instead of feeling deprived of strength, the man starts speaking to his hands as you would to an old friend, to an old companion, whose companionship you miss. And similarly, he talks to his strength. He talks to his uh, cognitive abilities, to his thinking abilities, in a way that they all possess consciousness, and they all contribute to the consciousness of the old man himself. And again, that was one of the most beautiful sequences of dialogue between the man and his own physical and mental attributes, which I found to be really, really engrossing. Another really beautiful relationship that was portrayed by Hemingway was man's relationship with the physical elements, with nature. Especially the old man's relationship with the fish that he was hunting. The fish was very arrogant, the fish was very proud, and it dragged the old man very far off away at sea, so far that he could not see the shore anymore. And he decided to risk it. He decided to cross his limits. He decided to cross his physical barriers because he wanted to be successful for this one last time. He wanted to get hold of this fish that that really made him proud as well. That he caught hold of such a fish, of such a proud and elegant creature of the sea. And on numerous occasions throughout the book, the old man expresses his love for the sea, expresses his love for for the life that existed underneath the sea, right? He had this sort of veneration and respect for the job that he did, and for the job that he used to do throughout his whole life. He did it with love, and he did it with purpose. And even now, when his body is failing him, and he's not able to execute his job to perfection, he still is in love with his job, and that is displayed with pure perfection by Hemingway in the way that the old man talks about his prey, talks about the fish that he's caught, and how he forges a relationship with this fish who refuses to budge, who refuses to to be overpowered by the man himself. Then there's a fleeting mention of religion, which the old man considers to be just a happening, just a means to an end. He mutters incantations, but he doesn't have much meaning behind them. He doesn't have much purpose behind them, and he considers them to be a thing that people do when things aren't going their way, which again was a very amusing sequence in the book. But most importantly, I think the book talks about limits. It talks about how in pursuit of a vision that is too fantastic, that is too far off for man to ever encapsulate, man exceeds the limits that are set on him by nature itself. And the old man pays the price for that. The old man breaks his own limits in pursuit of something that he wants, that he craves, and that he desires, when he instead should have realized midway, even though his consciousness spoke about it, but he denied it, and he continued to travel further and further out into the sea. He could have realized it, that it was too far. It was too far away from shore. He was an old man. He was not the person he used to be, and nature had certain limits and certain boundaries for him now that previously didn't exist. And if he had realized that, if he had stopped somewhere in between, probably the story might not have ended the way that it did. The sharks wouldn't have come the way that they did, and the elegant and admirable prey that the old man managed to catch would not have been, in my opinion, tarnished if the old man had instead stayed within his true limits. So yeah, the conclusion was acceptance and resignation. The book was very, in my opinion, you could say tranquil and pacifistic in almost 3/4 of the pages of the story. But the last quarter, where the man realizes, significantly realizes that there was a limit that he did not have to surpass. He did surpass that, and he went way too far. The happenings after that realization was so quick and so brutal you can see a dream dying in front of your eyes. You can see uh, you know a farewell, a farewell that is stopping mid sentence. An incomplete farewell. You're left with feelings of uh, you're left with feelings of emptiness and desolation once the book ends, and most importantly, like the old man, you're left with feelings of acceptance and resignation. Acceptance in the face of nature, resignation in the face of nature, acceptance regarding the existence of limits, the existence of boundaries, and the existence of reality, and most importantly, resignation to it all. So yeah, it was a really pleasant experience reading The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Classics are my safe space because I used to read classics a lot when I was young, and yeah, it was a happy relief reading a pleasant book after the brutality of Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. But yeah, this was my book review about Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. And next up for you is one of my most favorite books, Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. A very intriguing, very exciting, very interesting book that I'd love to talk about with other people, and I hope I'm able to convey my love and my excitement for this book in my next video. Goodbye for now, and until we meet again, have a wonderful, wonderful reading experience. Goodbye.